Here's a little story that must be told.
About two cool brothers that were put on hold.
Tried to hold us back. Fortune and fame, they destroyed the crew and they killed our name.
My name's Krust. I'm an experimental music producer. I've been doing this for like 20 years. I started kind of in school, really. I watched this film called Wild Style. And in it, I saw, the beginnings of the hip-hop culture in America. And, I was 14 years old and I was watching it on the screen. And I was amazed watching these kids, breakdancing, spraying on walls, MCing, DJing, and it just captured my imagination. And it really, for me, at that age, it was like, right, I have to figure out how I can recreate that. And me and my brothers, we sat around conspiring, figuring out a way how we could actually, create our own version of the Bronx in Northwest, right? The school was very good. I went to Mary Boys School. The school was good. They let us have a room in there, so they let us spray it up, put cardboard down, get a little boogie box, and we held discos in there once a week or once every 2 weeks. And that really kind of just set the ball rolling. After that, we took the whole idea to a youth club, Eagle House Youth Club, did the same thing there. Did but a little bit bigger. By then we left school. We clubbed together and bought our first turntables and a set of speakers.
The official adventures of
The Great Master.
That was like really exciting for us. And then after that, we took that idea to like a squat.
People here love the way I run my game. They can't wait to see me make the Hall of Fame.
And we fixed the roof up, spray painted the walls, everything, cleaned it all out, and we held parties once a month. So that really was the beginning. Out of that, opportunity came from my brother. Made this track called Wishing on a Star with Smith and Mighty. And that track got to number 10 in the national charts.
I'm wishing on a dream.
Off the back of that, we got signed to 10 Records, which is Virgin Records. So we got signed to do an album. Now, we're like these 18, 19-year-old kids. We haven't got a clue what's going on. And all of a sudden, we're in this, a room similar to this, with all these flashing lights. And they say, right, make this album. We're like, we don't really know what we're doing. And consequently, we got dropped and everything. But I'd experienced the studio. I'd seen the light, literally. I'd seen these flashing lights. I'd seen this big speaker. I'd heard this sound coming out of it, and I was like, I got to do that. That was it. I'd seen, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to become, and after that experience, my brother had a sampler, a Casio FZ1.
I like that.
And I spent the next 3 years sleeping in his back room, mastering this sampler, figuring it out. Like, how do you sample? What do you do? How do you make a beat? And I was hanging around with other people that were, doing the same type of thing. There was like this little community building up around Bristol, people making beats, using synths and stuff. And, it was great. It was just this new emergence kind of culture. It was exactly like what we were seeing on this video.
Double trouble is in the house.
Some kick and rock.
And rock the scene, we'll turn it out.
That was our blueprint, like at least once a month we'd watch it. We'd all sit around, smoke, drink and whatever, and watch this film and try and like really get the essence. What were they really trying to do there? What was the culture about? What was the message in it and stuff? So,
1, come on, 2, come on, 1, 2, 3, hit it!
at the same time as learning to use the equipment, I was going to raves in the free raves all around in the Southwest. And I started to hear this music, and it started off being a cross between rave music and hip hop sped up. So at the hip hop breaks, but it had this kind of house beat, this jungle, this sort of house beat and these big basses. But every now and again, you'd hear one of these tracks and I'd stop and I'd be like, I'd pick up on this thing because it was so different from everything else. And I was like, I was with Di at the time and stuff. I was like, we gotta try and make something similar. It was like something like this or something. And so that really led on to us making this early type of rave music. It still had this total techno-y flat beat in it, but it was very breakbeat orientated. And that went on for a while until one day we were all in the studio just messing around, and we decided to take the flat beat out, and we were left with this kind of like breakbeat kind of thing. We didn't really know what it was.
You know, that's a hell of an idea.
I mean, I remember it very clearly. We just sat around this room looking at each other thinking, what is this? And then, that was really the beginning of our experience of jungle.
That's beautiful!
Of what became jungle. Over the years that followed, we started to meet loads of other people in the Southwest, up north and in London who were doing the same kind of thing. Then we started this crew called, we wanted to start a label. We wanted to start getting this music out. We were doing it for a while now, and we thought we were good enough to get it out or let people to hear it. And we were DJing, and so we started to build up a little bit of popularity. We started a little bit of a movement going forward. We heard about another friend of ours, or another guy from Bristol, who wanted to do a label as well. His name was Roni. And we were like, let's all sit down in this room and figure this thing out. We all wanted to do the same thing, so we all sat down in my old flat up on Ashley Road in St Paul's. And we just talked about what we were into, what we liked, what we were passionate about. And everybody got on. And I remember we just all sat around and we talked and we joked, and we were all on the same page. We were all frustrated artists. No one would take us serious.
What is that?
We were doing this music that other people were calling devil music because it was so fast and it was totally alien to what everyone else had heard. But it made complete sense to us. We were like this group of guys who were quite, progressive and futuristic and whatnot. We were into experimenting. We were just into experimenting and pushing the boundaries and trying to just be in that excitement of the moment, and also as well relive that Wildstar moment, that initial excitement that we got from it, the passion from that.
And together, forever, we're number one.
We started this crew called Full Cycle. Full Cycle really was like this, juggernaut that sort of just came out and took us all on this mad ride for the next 10 years, really.
Say to me, don't stop till the break is done.
Through that, we met Brian G and Jumping Jack Frost, and they were from V Records. We started putting out material with those guys. We did Radio 1, One in the Jungle, we did Galaxy Radio in Bristol, and we got heard by Giles Peterson and Paul Martin from Talking Loud. And we started to talk to them about potentially signing and doing some album projects. And that was very exciting for us. I mean, we were doing lots of remixes. We were pretty sort of established now in the sort of a scene. Jungle music now has reached a peak, not a peak, but it's firmly in the underground now. It's normal. There's parties all around England, and it's gaining momentum. And so, we got signed, we agreed, and we got signed to Talking Loud.
Everybody say ho, say ho.
And it's a very exciting time for us. We were quite accomplished in the studio. We knew at least how to put a beat together, how to make, records. Making an album was another challenge.
You gotta write, you gotta do the action, man. You gotta go out there, rack up.
We did 3 Reprazent albums, one album by myself with Talking Loud, and that it was a great experience, and we learned a lot from it. We got to travel around the world. We got signed in America to Def Jam, which was like for us a dream come true.
We had did things in the past, and he was like came through, man, like a thoroughbred.
Because that was our whole b-boy experience, listening to the Def Jam and buying the very first Def Jam records as well. To be signed to like that label, that was amazing for us as well. So we ended up touring all around America, working with a lot of the hip hop artists, working in big American studios, and really learning lots and bringing it back and experimenting on our label. Really kind of trying to understand how we could build up what we were doing to a level that we could start, do our own albums on our own projects, and that's what we did after a while. We started to sign a few artists. We started to do our own albums on our own label. We started up various pseudonyms, various other projects. And it's great. We did that for like 10 years, and then everybody kind of went their own way after that. So I travelled, I went to London, I studied, I did a lot of coaching and mentoring, learned a lot about psychology, spirituality, business, and started to develop a course and a workshop that I started to teach and go around other colleges and implement and stuff. And that now has led into more of what I'm doing now, which is kind of building some kind of...
Yo, you Fade?
Yeah, what's up?
You the Fade?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah? You run this joint?
I'm sort of the manager, you know.
Something to kind of give back as well, because what I've noticed on my travels is that everybody kept saying to me, you know, how did you create your label? How did you start becoming a DJ? And, you know, and I started at 14, so really, you know, I didn't know anything else. So for me, it's quite normal. And the people that I was hanging around with, it's quite normal, you know. We saw Wild Style. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we saw Wild Style. That was the blueprint. It's like, that's the Bible, dude. You know what I'm saying?
This is great, man.
You know what it is. 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 You know what it is.
This is great, man.
Could guess who I be.
Decide now what you want to do with your time. Have a clear idea.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got to think about what's actually possible with digital. What could you actually do with digital you can't do with analog? You know, and then you've got to think about when they build the cyborg. That does both.
Yeah.
That's next level, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.